at tonight's 5-game slate. Overall, kind of a somewhat appealing slate, I guess, for small games. At least we have some bigger names in terms of guys on the hill.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some name recognition. Not the most ideal of matchups. I mean, really all of the best pitchers for tonight's slate are pretty much on the road. I mean, you got Archer at the Yankees, Lester at the White Sox, Godley at St. Louis. So definitely some options, but you don't feel like anybody's a slam dunk play. I mean, according to Vegas, John Lester is definitely the play you want. I mean, he's a huge favorite facing a lineup that pretended to be good against lefties for a while. Todd Frazier's gone. They're not really actually that good against lefties. They just put the ball in play more than they should. So, I mean, you got to figure if you got one guy, cash games, I mean, I think it has to be Lester.
Yeah, I think Vegas kind of adds that up for me. It's hard to say given the fact that a guy who's been in the negatives over his last 5 starts for one of them, but I think he does have the safest floor in terms of the matchup. It just ballpark, it's a little bit iffy. Yeah, without Todd Frazier, I mean, I just don't see a lot of potential here. Jose Abreu's not even that strong against lefties. I mean, I don't see anyone that I'm really worried about. The problem is if he just starts allowing base runners, I mean, few of these guys can run.
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem. He did throw over to first once. So, I mean, to be fair, he did that earlier this year. But, I mean, he's still a guy that's over the past month given up more home runs than you like. The wind could be a factor there. I don't know what it's going to end up being tonight. I mean, I'm not the weatherman. But
don't be a weatherman. That's a bad job right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm not out here betting over unders and claiming I get 80% of them. I'm 75 tops on that. But I mean, kind of by default, I mean, you figure, the White Sox lineup, I mean, who are you really worried about in that lineup? Like individual players. I mean, Avisel Garcia has been good all year, but he's never great. I mean, I don't know. Jose Abreu can hit lefties, and Lester, I'm not the biggest fan of John Lester at this stage in his career anyway, but I think, I mean, if you're going to play cash games, I think it could be a big mistake playing a guy like Archer in cash because he does have that propensity to have those big innings where he throws 40 pitches, walks 3 guys, and might not give up any runs that inning. But I don't know. His command in some spots is tough, and I'm not reading too much into his numbers against the Yankees in the past, although he's been really good this year because this is a much different lineup than we've seen in past years. So, and both of his starts this year against them were at Tropicana Field, so that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think I agree. I think Lester comes in as the top option. We'll kind of transition to Archer here. This is definitely a Yankees team that's a lot different. They're not as contact prone as they were kind of in the past where they have 19-20% strikeout rate against righties. That's just not the case. They're loading up more right-handed power bats that do strike out a lot more, so I think that benefits Archer this year. I like Archer. I'm curious to see what his ownership is tonight. I think he's an intriguing GPP option just because the strikeout rate's still there. I mean, Yankees, 22.2% strikeout rate against righties. It's been up over that over the last 30 days. So I think there's some potential. I think if he gives up 3 to 4 earned runs, I still think he can even it out with some strikeouts too. But this game's pretty close to a pick 'em too.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, over the course of the season, I mean, he has by far the highest strikeout rate of any of these guys. Lester isn't too far off. Zach Godley really isn't that far off either. But, strikeout upside, he already showed it with 12 against them in the game earlier this year. So if he strikes out 12, like you said, even if he gives up 3 or 4 runs, I mean, he could still be the top scorer on the night. So I think if you're going to make multiple lineups, especially a 2-pitcher site, I think you got to make at least one combo of Lester and Archer because if both those guys go off, I mean, you're going to be hard-pressed catching up with these other dudes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's talk the next guy that's in terms of pricing down below. Zach Godley, he's on the road. Cardinals' offense has been somewhat better of late. This was a team I liked to pick on before. I don't know how much I'm picking on them today, though.
I know it's a tough spot because you've got these guys that, they don't strike out a lot. I think their strikeout rate against righties is right around 21%. But you look at what Zach Godley does, and I mean, he's given up under a 200 batting average to righties, just over 200 batting average to lefties. I mean, he's just been so good against right-handed batters. And now you got Dexter Fowler's on the DL, so that's a left-handed bat they're missing. And I mean, I don't expect him to go out and get, 8, 9, 10 strikeouts in this one. But I mean, if you look, he's never gotten rocked this entire season. I mean, he's given up 6 earned runs one game against Atlanta, but made up for that with 9 strikeouts, 4 earned runs against Washington, 10 strikeouts. So FanDuel wise, he's been under 27 points once. So, I mean, for me, 7 innings pitched at Chase Field against St. Louis with 7 Ks, 3 earned. I think he's actually in today. I mean, I don't know that I definitely wouldn't play him as my only pitcher in cash games, but I think he's a guy I'll be pairing with Lester for the most part because, that Cardinals lineup isn't all that intimidating. There's a lot of guys who are good hitters, but I mean, as far as guys you really worry about ruining your night, I mean, it's Matt Carpenter, and that's it. I mean, I don't know. I think Godley's in actually a really good spot here, and I'm not buying the whole Diamondbacks can't hit on the road narrative.
Yeah, I look at Godley, and I just think, one, he rolls a ton of ground balls. As you said, I mean, the strikeout rate is really tough on righties. He's probably going to see 7 right-handed bats here. I think Matt Carpenter, Colton Wong are probably the only 2 lefties who are going to crack the lineup, and then you get obviously Luke Weaver.
Yep.
So I think this is a lineup where he can get a solid outing. I kind of look. I mean, there's a couple cheaper guys that are about $2K less on DraftKings. I think that's kind of where I'm more looking. But if I can get similar outings for $2K less, I mean, maybe I go that route.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel good about him as my only pitcher. Definitely not in cash games, but secondary guy, I'm definitely a fan.
Yeah, I could see using him in GPPs for me. I think that's kind of where I stand on him. And I'll go kind of the cheap around cash just to get the extra big bat or 2.
Yep.
You want to talk the other side of that game, Luke Weaver? You were kind of saying he's going to be a popular arm tonight. I'm in agreement. One, we've actually seen this guy before. It's not like he's a no-name prospect coming up. He might be a guy I fade, though.
I'm actually with you, and it's not to say that I don't think he's going to be, a good pitcher in general. But I mean, when he came up last year, striking out a ton of guys, 11 strikeouts per 9 over 36 innings, but also walked 3 batters per 9, 1.6 WHIP, 1.73 homers per 9. He gave up more hard contact than you like. I mean, obviously a small sample size. He's only pitched out of the pen so far this year as well. I mean, great numbers in the minors. 2.96 FIP, 9 strikeouts per 9, 11% swing and strike rate. And that's all well and good, but, I mean, this is still, on tonight's slate, probably the best lineup outside of maybe the Yankees. I mean, depending on, who you're – I guess it's kind of splitting hairs, and I know the Yankees are at home, so Yankees probably a slightly better offense, but the Diamondbacks are still an offense I don't like to target really with anybody, and I know they're on the road, but I don't think I'm going to be playing him because at that price that he's got everywhere, I think it's just too easy of a fade for me. I mean, if he goes off, he goes off, and I'm willing to eat that one on this short slate tonight. But I think that there's a guy similarly priced to him that actually has really similar numbers in the minors. Not to say I think he's going to be future-wise the same pitcher, but that doesn't matter for tonight. So,
yeah. And you look at Luke Weaver's last games in the majors, I mean, he feasted on bad offenses. Like, he was absolutely awful against guys or teams that were above average hitting wise. And, I think the addition of JD Martinez just gives you another bat that you have to worry about. Yeah, I mean, some of their numbers, guys like David Peralta, Jake Lamb a little bit, they do drop off on the road, but this is still a lineup I just think even 1 through 7, like Drury and Owings are still decent enough hitters where I think it's just tough to get through. So I'm probably not going to have any Luke Weaver shares. I think, you brought up Chris Flexen, who I think is in play as kind of that pivot swerve.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the numbers, okay, so granted, Luke Weaver was pitching in AAA and Flexen in AA, so, I mean, that's a difference there. But his AA numbers this year, 9.25 Ks per 9, 1.29 walks, 0.74 homers per 9, 0.72 WHIP, 11.8% swing strike rate, 52% ground ball rate, 2.69 FIP. I mean, numbers, granted, 1 step below in AA. And like I said, this isn't a future play, so don't get stupid and twist the words here. But just for tonight, I mean, he's playing the Padres in Petco, best matchup on the board. Those are the type of spots you really want to target, a guy in his first major league start against. So, It's not to say I think he's going to go out and dominate, but I mean, with the best matchup on the board, seems like he's missing a ton of bats. They got almost a 26% strikeout rate against righties. I just think it's a really good spot for him and just the perfect pivot off of Weaver on a slate where I think he's going to see a ton of ownership.
You know what's funny?
What?
Is over the last 30 days, San Diego has a higher team WOBA than all the AL East teams.
Really? Wow.
I mean, I've been picking on the Padres, and it actually hasn't been going well because, Bumgarner twice. I didn't use him the second start around, but
they also killed
I don't
Bumgarner,
know.
so that doesn't count twice.
They do have some guys that are obviously worse off against righties. I think it kind of takes Renfroe out of play a little bit. Will Myers, I mean, those are kind of guys that are better off against lefties. I'm with you. I expect the run total here to drop. I think it's way too high right now early in the day.
Yeah, I agree there. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a spot where I think if I got to pick between one of the two, I'm going to take the lower owned guy on a shorter slate, and I'll save Luke Weaver for another game.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm kind of bummed. I want to talk Perdomo real quick. Mets just don't strike out. There's just one too many lefties in that lineup. I think people might take a look at Perdomo and go, oh, this guy does flash a high ground ball rate. But he struggles with lefties, and I think there's just one too many lefties in this lineup for me to even consider, even him at home.
And honestly, with some guys on this slate that have big time strikeout upside, I mean, Perdomo has exactly 4 strikeouts.
Yeah.
In Coors in 4 or less in all but 2 of his last 10 starts. So he's a fade for me tonight because I think you need to have strikeout upside in this slate, and he doesn't have it.
Yeah, Mets 18.8% strikeout rate against righties this year. That's a really strong number. Yeah. So,
you want to talk about your boy CC Sabathia?
Don't paint me as the guy who's liking CC Sabathia tonight. I'm just saying I would not be surprised to see him go out there and have a decent outing. I'm not going to have any part of it, but it's not going to surprise me.
He's a guy that I can't play. And I know he's been really, really good over the last month. And it's a team that he's seen a lot of these guys a ton of in his career, and he's had some success. But I don't know. I just can't ever pull the trigger on him. And, I mean, his worst start in the last month gave up what? I mean, he's given up 2 earned runs or less in every start since May 16th. I know he missed some time there, but I don't know. It's at home. You got some guys in that Tampa Bay team that hit lefties pretty hard. Maybe he goes out and gets a quality start. I don't think he has close to the upside of those top guys. He's kind of that guy in the middle that I won't necessarily be stacking against him, but I just don't like to play him. It's really that
I'd rather use Godley over him if we're talking guys in that range.
Yeah, and Godley's a better pitcher.
Yeah. I think the Rays bats like Wilson Ramos, Evan Longoria, Tim Beckham if he's in the lineup, like Ramos is 3K on DraftKings tonight. He's probably going to be the highest owned catcher.
He should be. He's only 2,400 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I would imagine he's probably your highest owned catcher tonight. So I see the Rays value bets more than CC Sabathia in terms of just using them for me personally. But I would not be surprised to see this game be like, oh, the Rays scored 3 earned runs and struck out 8 times.
Yeah, I mean, really, the thing that worries me about the Rays bats is, I mean, you're not scoring much on that bullpen, so you better get it. You better get it together while Sabathia's in, because stacking anybody against any Yankees pitcher right now scares me because 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, really. I mean, good luck.
Yeah, I'm with you. But our personal favorite, Mike Pelfrey. Just kidding.
No, don't say our. There must be somebody in the room with you because that is not me. No, you're not.
That comes again.
A team total of like 6.5 here.
Yeah, they're the highest total on the night. I mean,
that's a Coors Field total.
I know. And then you got Miami, who's just putting up more numbers than Ryan Tannehill. Those are 2 pitchers to stay away from tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a no thanks for me.
That's going to wrap it up. You like Lester as your top option tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I won't say reluctantly. I mean, I'm not in love with the situation, the ballpark, and everything. But, I mean, Vegas-wise, I mean, you that big of a favorite, I don't see how he's not the top option.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think him, Archer, Godley, and then I think Flexen's probably the 4 that I'll be looking to use.
Yeah.
That's going to wrap it up. You can head over to DaveFantasyCafe.com, check out our great tools and content.